What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pod with Cool Sports Guy. Today, we're going to be joined by a special guest. We're going to have Carson Hardman. He's an MMA fighter. He's going to be talking a little bit about his career. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring him right in. Hello,
Hey,
sir.
what's up?
How are you today?
I'm just fantastic. Just got done with training.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And, I know we had our interview a while back, so on paper, quote unquote. So it's good to see you face to face and
Yeah,
talking
it
everything.
is.
Sweet. Well, I thought we could start, again, in the beginning, kind of like a little more breakdown and everything. I know in the beginning you said you started MMA at age 14. Just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Was there someone that recommended you trying out MMA or, or how was that process for that?
Yeah, so I got too fat for skateboarding, like I said.
Yeah.
I went to at the time there was his name is Kenny Knight. He's actually a motivational speaker right now, but he had a huge gym, and that was the kid. That's what everyone in the high school and the junior high, everyone knew Kenny because he was just this big Marine, just this big black guy. Just stood out from the crowd from Utah, right? Like that was like his brand, is just this mean Marine that just knew what he was doing. So I go to his gym and I say, "Hey, Kenny, like I want to learn how to kickbox." And he says, "Well, I only do boxing. So if you want to learn how to kick, you need to go to this guy over here and he's going to help you out." And so he referred me to my coach now, Mark Balser. And we were this little studio, dude, that was probably, it had to have been less than, it was probably about 1,000 square feet, if that. Like it was probably like closer to like 800. Just this tiny little hole in the wall, just blue mat. There was no cage. Just like we had one pad on the wall, one short length of pad on the wall that we worked against, and from there it just kind of grew on me. And he's like, "Well, we don't just do kickboxing here, but I can teach you that." And the gears got rolling. The wheels started turning, and from there, I got hooked on MMA. And I told him, I said, "I'm going to fight one day." And my coach just looked at me. He's like, "Yeah, we'll see. We'll see." Because that's everyone's story, right? Everyone, I want to fight. And it's like, well, we'll see.
One step at a time, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of like, that's a long answer to a short question, I guess. But it started out with a influential man in that was around in the community and referred me to a little hole in the wall. And it's grown from there.
Nice. Yeah, no, long answers are welcome here. No worries there. So, so that must have felt pretty good. Like I know that you went to Kenny first, and then you went to, he recommended you to go somewhere else. It must have felt pretty good for you to have people that know what their wheelhouse is, right? To like know where to direct you. And how'd that feel for you? Like knowing that they're not going to just tell you, come on in, no matter what, right?
Well, and that was the weird thing. Like I was like so naive, so green in that, like, dude, growing up, like even my whole family, I think we talked about this too, like growing up, that like my family just never guessed me as a fighter. Like they said, "No way Carson's gonna fight." And they even hated the thought for years. They hated, like, "You'll never fight, we don't want you doing," like not just my immediate family but extended family. And it was almost demeaning to a point. And so it like, honestly, it's more like looking back now, I'm so grateful that Kenny didn't just like, "Hey, yeah, come on in," because it would have been totally not the thing I think I was looking for. In the end, I didn't know I was looking for MMA, but I think I was. And when I understood it and knew what it was like, yeah, this is my place. So I got super blessed, very lucky, very fortunate to have a good man who, just did the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Has your family warmed up, or is it still the same, cautious?
If I'm being honest, and I'm not trying to throw them under the bus, but if I'm being honest, it's ups and downs. When you're winning, the world is all about you. And when you're losing, the world is, they could care less. There's been times in my career where it's like I win and everyone's all for me. Everyone's like showing up to the next fight. They're making the plane flights, they're booking hotels, not necessarily hotels, but you get what the mentality that I'm saying here. And then I lose, and then it's like, oh, Carson, you know, you better have a plan B. He better be looking at XYZ, getting out of the fight game. You know, he's like, oh man, guys, cut me some slack. I've lost 3 times. It's not like and then they're to, you know, high class people. It's like, you give a guy some slack. I was really young in this game to begin with, and you know, like so there, it's ups and downs, man. It just comes and goes.
No, yeah, I understand. Yeah, and like you said, you just got to ride the wave. You know, it's ups and downs, the balance, and everything. I know since the last time you've been pretty busy and everything. So we'll talk. I was going to get into that a little bit later and everything, but yeah, I want to talk about that. But as far as that gym, are you still at that same gym, or has it moved on? Like the little small gym you're talking about?
Yeah. So what we've actually done is we've moved from that small location. I was there. Oh God, that location itself was there for almost 20 years, and I had been there for about, I want to say like seven or 8. And we've been at a new location now. So what we've done is we've taken my grandfather's barn. It was during COVID. My coach was looking to get out of the business anyways. And so it kind of just gave us a good excuse to shut down and transfer over from my grandpa's old diesel shop and his farm. And we just renovated it to be a gym. And so we've had that now for, going on 2 years here in August. So about a year and a half. But it's been awesome out here. We love it. We've got a great view of Mount Timpanogos out here in Utah. We get to overlook the whole valley while we train and have the garage open in the summertime. So we have a great crew.
Nice. How long did that process take to convert that barn? Was it a long time, or just like?
Dude, it was. So luckily, like the concrete had already been laid at that point. It was originally a barn, and then my uncle actually renovated it for his diesel shop for extended it even more for his excavation company. And then he closed his company out. And so then that just kind of sat there, and I moved into this small part that again was only like 1,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And that was our gym for about 9 months. And then I finally convinced my grandpa to let me move into that other side. So about another, it was about like, 6 to 8 months later, we moved into the bigger portion part. So now it's like 3,000 square feet. Wow. And I had to clean it all out. Like I pretty much, I had some help, but it was, it was mostly me doing the heavy lifting and stuff. And it took probably about a month and a half to like get it functioning. Just constant 12, 14-hour days of just work, wife shuttling food to me while I'm working, there's no breaks for this guy. So it's an interesting process, but it was totally worth it.
I can imagine. Yeah. Cause you work on the same farm. Is that the one that you work at, or?
Used to. So, I mean, I still help my old man from time to time. We've only got we own like 150 acres still, or he does. But like actual farming land, there's only like 80 acres left. So he does it just because that's what he's known his whole life. And just can't stop those. I mean, if you know a farmer, you know the mentality. They just never stop. It's just who they are. So it keeps him busy, and it's good. And I help him from time to time, but that's it.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. And so as far as for all the training and everything that you do, are there some resources that you do like along the way, or you just are self-taught? You just like pick and choose, do you do a lot of research yourself, or do you get ideas from friends?
For just like the training that I do.
In general, yeah. In this aspect, we can talk about your training, and like you said, you did transform the barn to a gym. Like as far as how you come about information, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So as far as like the training aspect of it goes, me and Mark dynamic striking is like our biggest, I guess, outreach tool for the striking aspect. And I wouldn't say we mostly bought like Teddy Atlas's stuff. So like huge shout out to him. Like that dude's a wizard. We have done a little bit of like BJJ fanatics, but not a lot.
Mm-hmm. You might be breaking up a little bit. Is it me or?
There we go.
All right.
All right. Sorry. So we've done a little bit of like the BJJ fanatics, but mostly we watch a lot of UFC and we just say what works, what doesn't work. We're always open to opinions, like whatever YouTuber we can look up who's, you know, and you learn, like there's those guys out there that are like, this is the one way and this is the only way to do it and this is how it works. And you kind of just tilt your head and you're like, oh, but I see so many other guys that don't fight with their hands up, or I see a lot of guys who get knocked out with their hands up. Like, so what's the underlying principle there? It's not that their hands are up or down. It's they're not moving their freaking head. Well, why aren't they moving their head? Maybe it's because they don't move their feet. Maybe it's because they don't work their head movement. So yeah, maybe they do need to move their head more, right? So we mostly try to look at concepts and principles, and not necessarily just moves, but we're always outreaching from like YouTube, just random people from there. We're reaching, you know, from those 2 websites that I listed, but a lot of it's ourselves and just kind of ironing out the wrinkles, like what works and what doesn't work as we go.
Gotcha. Okay. That's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, like, and it's nice to have that, you know, like trying to gather from different ideas and everything. So like you said, one way might not work for everybody else. So it's nice that you're able to like adapt to, you know, adaptability, right?
There's no way me and my coach would have made it this far without the internet. Like that tool alone, like, because everything used to be a mystery. Like, you know, I remember Chael Sonnen talks about that. He talks about like back in the day, you know, he moved to Utah so he could train with Pedro and it was the wrestling coach at the time at BYU. So that way he kind of had both worlds, and then he'd figure out the striking as he went. But now with the internet, it's like there is no secret. Everyone's told it a million different ways. So
I mean, yeah, just to watch UFC, like in the original ones, you had to try to find somebody with a VHS and just try to hopefully you got the right one, you know. So
exactly. It was just a different time. So crazy to think that was only like 10 years ago, you know. And now everything has changed that way.
My kids make fun of me for using the phrase "back in my day," you know. So it's true.
It's very true.
Yeah. So I know we talked about it before. Like your normal work week is pretty busy most of the time, right? You do a lot of teaching, right, and training. Do you like to keep a tight schedule? Is there any routines you like to stick by specifically, or like?
I live by a schedule. That's all I do. Like fighting is first. No matter what it is, no matter how much I want to go out and play or go see my son at a basketball game or track meet or be there with my wife for a date night. Like if that's the only time I got for training, then training comes first and then playtime. So Monday I wake up, I go to my strength and conditioning coach, I get a little bit of a break and I have to go right into recovery afterward. I sit in an H-bot every day. So I'm constantly doing recovery work. I have a movement specialist that I go see, Dr. Myers here in Lehigh, Ryan Myers. He's huge help. Him and Scott, they help like with FST, fascial stretch therapy that I do there as well. So it's everything that I've got to do. I've got nutrition. So like I'm constantly meal prepping on Sundays, and then I have to, you know, reheat it or do whatever to prep that during the day. So everything's got to be planned out. Otherwise, my day would just get way out of hand and nothing would get done as effectively. Yeah.
Is there one thing like in your work, like you do a lot and everything. So is there one thing that like you have to do? Like if you don't do this one thing, it kind of throws your whole day off, or is there like?
Dude, my H-bot sessions. Yeah. So I can go from as long as I'm consistently sitting in that an hour a day. I go from like I can usually get away with about 7.5 hours of sleep. And I just naturally wake up at that point. If I don't sit in my H-bot, like I didn't last night, dude, I slept for 9 hours, and I still didn't want to get up. Like I was like, I'm staying here. And yesterday, Friday, wasn't even like a big day for me. It was just, I'd say that's pretty average, but because my body just was craving it. And I'm just so used to recovering faster that it was like, nope, we're going back to sleep. So I had to
Right.
like force myself out of bed this morning.
Yeah. You
So
got to
the
find.
spot recovery, man, I can't stress that enough. Like people in our industry are retarded when it comes to that. They abuse their bodies so hard, and it's like, yeah, I got like 7 hours of sleep and running on a Red Bull. First off, if they get 7 hours of sleep, I'm impressed, because most of them don't get that much. But
Yeah.
and they're like running off fake fuel for the rest of the day, and it's like, dude, your career's going to be short. One day it's going to catch up to you. So I take my recovery. That's like top priority. Like training is top priority, but above training, or like right there with it,
Right.
recovery.
Nice. Now, like I think like you read my mind, just going into the recovery. And I was about to ask, like you had your something went wrong with your hand. You broke your hand in your last fight, right?
Yeah.
But you still stay active. Like, how do you? I know, like I've seen, like you're at the gym all the time. You're doing stuff. How do you do that? First of all.
Dude, you just deal with it.
Yeah.
There's always something you can do. Like there's so many jujitsu drills. And right now, like for the first couple weeks when I was like in a soft cast, yeah, like I couldn't do a
Right.
whole lot. So I'm like sitting there practicing like shrimping drills.
Yeah.
I couldn't even roll around on a yoga ball because the swelling, the hand would just throb so much. So I there for a minute it did suck, but after that, like you just go light. You have really good partners that are, if you have to pick and choose who you roll with at jiu-jitsu class, then so be it. Obviously, I'm not doing any striking on it right now, but
Right.
there's still a lot of footwork that I use. There's still a lot of like defensive drills that I need to practice to fill in my game, to tighten up those knots. So I'm just better and more crisp when I go out in the ring. I hear that so much too, is like, well, I can't come today because XYZ. And it's like, well, make it a priority and you'll make it happen. There's no excuse. So
I think that's one of like the sentiments, when you talk to some fighters, I hear that a lot, and it's cool to hear, because just do the work, right? So like that's kind of like a mantra right there. It sounds like you're implementing that to you. Like as far as being a fighter, what's the most difficult part for you for being a fighter? And I think probably different for everybody else.
Most difficult thing about being a fighter, I'd have to say the anticipation, like the wait in between fights. Like right now, like because I'm injured, like it's like you have to learn to stay motivated when there's no wind in the sails. It's like, like no wind's coming to sail across that sea. You better get your oar out and start paddling, dude. Right. So that's kind of what it is. It's like it's a grind some days, and it's like you're still showing up, acting like I think Mike Tyson has a quote that's similar to that, where he says, you just show up as if you're happy to be there. Is essentially, and I'm like giving like a snap, like that's not at all what he said, but that's essentially like the idea of his quote there is, even though you don't want to be there, you're showing up as if you're just ecstatic to be there, and you're faking it till you make it kind of deal. And doing things, you're still working in and putting in the hardest effort that you got that day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like just making the plan, committing, and then implementing, right? I know, like, and I see on your feed and everything, you like to implement a lot of different recovery methods, does somebody recommend those to you, or the same thing as before? You just kind of research on your own, and like the ozone shot. Are you able to talk about those? I just saw that today. I was wanting to talk about that a little bit. Where do you come up, or like how do you come up with these recovery methods?
Dude, so the HBOT, my uncle, he's a quadriplegic, and he's actually the one that referred me to the HBOT. He's like, dude, borrow mine, see if you like it. My whole family ended up liking it. I don't personally own one. I actually drive like 5 minutes down the road to my grandparents' house, and I use theirs because they loved it so much they just bought their own. And then the ozone, the dry needling, the FST, all of that is like huge shout out to Dr. Myers. Like they found me on Instagram, and they asked to meet one day, and they're like, dude, I think we could work together and we could help each other out. And so a lot of my recovery methods come from Dr. Myers. He's just the way he approaches things, the way that just the amount of knowledge, like he's constantly Like he was just gone for a week because he's studying, you know, how to be a better doctor. He's not just practicing, but he's constantly learning and constantly what's the best way to help these clients, whether they're old, young, athletes, not athletes, you know. So a lot of it comes from him. And then I obviously I care about my body, so I ask him to be educated. But at the end of the day, he takes a big part of that. That cooling the contrast, I do a lot of contrast, and that's down at Performance One, Jordan Pendleton's gym here in Utah. And I heard about, I've always done ice baths, but I didn't know like the benefits of contrast of doing an ice bath, then to a hot tub, ice bath, then to a hot tub. And they kind of explained that. And so it's like, God, that's repairing their neurological responses. And like, that's not going to happen anywhere else. So it's like, oh shoot, I got to be doing that at least twice a week, you know? So it's like, I've just kind of gathered it throughout my journey and the coaches that I have. I have a lot of cool availability to me right now. And I think as a professional athlete, I'd just be stupid if I didn't take advantage of it. So that's what I do is anytime I get a chance to recover, that's just going to get me that much quicker into the gym, be that much more healthy, that much more sharp. That's a huge thing is like, I might be recovered, but sometimes you're just foggy. So that's a huge deal to me is like, I want to be mentally on my game. So that's what I do.
Right. And it's good. And it's good to see, you know, like the science, technology is there, you know, so why not try to like feed from it, you know, like grow from it. And it's good that you're like, you know, you don't shy away from it. You know, some people would say, I don't want to try that because I don't know, whatever the reason might be. Yeah. So like, it's nice to see like, you know, hey, it's worth a shot if it's going to help me get better, you know, so it's nice to get you back out there and go. So that's pretty cool. And then, so the second part, I want to talk about your recent fights and everything. And this goes a little bit back to what you were saying. You know, there's ups and downs to your career and having those people. Is there, I didn't put this in the original questions, but is there something like how people, let me back up and word it again. So during those tough times, is there something that somebody does to help you get through those tough times? And conversely, there's something that like helps you through those times where things are going good. You know, it's nice to have that little push when you're doing good.
Dude, I mean, I have honestly, the one person that's always been there for me is my coach, Mark. He's like my father. He's like my father figure next to my grandpa. But I'd say Mark has always been there, like the first male figure to really take interest in something. So like I always have him to rely on, and we do have our, you know, our relationship on a coach and student basis. But just knowing like he's there for me has been huge. Like I can't express enough words like what that's been to me. But at the end of the day, I think next to Mark, the next biggest thing is just like honestly the doubt. And I know that sounds like reverse, but like, dude, I've got a chip on my shoulder, and like the more that you just doubt me, the bigger the chip that gets, and that just drives me. And it's like I don't need you guys, so watch me, you know. Hold my beer. Watch me.
All right.
So watch this. But those are my two biggest things is like when I lose, it's like I did have my first loss was really tough. The second loss sucked because I didn't feel like I really lost. I mean, I did fair and square. No doubt about it. But it was annoying. And then the third loss, it was like, that's it. Like, I'm just done losing. I just sick and tired of this. I don't want to experience this. I need to, and that's kind of like when I started picking up more on recovery, started going even harder in the gym and looking for different coaches. Like I just decided if I go bankrupt trying to be a professional fighter, so be it. It's all in at this point. No excuses here because everyone's watching me, telling me Carson will never make it because XYZ. Carson will never make it because he doesn't do this or he doesn't have that and he doesn't want to do that. And it's like, no, I'm cutting all of the bullshit out, and there's going to be no reason why Carson won't make it now. And if you guys continue to say those things, like you're going to eat your words.
Gotcha. And I've heard that before too, having the chip on your shoulder, and it helps, you know, like being able to motivate you. And is that chip on your shoulder just constantly stay there, or is it something that like every now and then you have to remember, like, let me put it back on so I can stay focused?
I mean, yeah, I guess we all get tempted to slack a little, right? We all want to just relax a little bit. but I'd say for the most part, like, it's just the way I've lived my whole life. And like that, this goes back to like the way my grandpa helped me to learn this is like on the farm, like, don't want to get up and work, like too damn bad. Like cows still need to be fed. The hay still needs to be turned, still needs to be cut, still needs to be hauled. Like you don't get a choice. My mom also taught me that early on in my life too, like just a combination of people. And so it's like, even if I do feel that way, it's like, I still do it. Like it's just so a part of me at this point that I just don't even think. I like this morning, I didn't want to get up, and I easily could have slept all the way, almost up until it was time for class. But it's like, no, you got other things that are beneficial, like your nutrition, preparing for the rest of the day, getting your bag ready to make sure everything's ready to go, so you're not scrambling in class to get it set up. Like just making sure things run smoothly, right?
Right.
It's like I just force myself out of bed to do that because it's just how I've been raised. It's who I am at this point.
Just becomes like second nature kind of deal, right?
Yeah. So I guess that the chip is permanently there, but it's not always like in the sense of like, screw these guys. It's more like, I don't want to do it, but it's going to happen because I'm going to make it happen. So
nice. That's good. And it's showing, I know you've been pretty active and everything. Hopefully this coming year also keeps you straight active, chasing that goal. As far as goals for the following year, do you have anything in mind that's like a goal pretty much for the following year?
Everything is just to win the next fight. I mean, the goal is obviously to be like UFC champion, right? Like if you're not trying to be a champion, like you're joking yourself in this sport, like you're in this game, like you're going to meet your maker, and it's going to be a tough, it's going to be a brick wall slamming in your face. It's going to be a tough reality to face. But I feel like if you have the mentality of like, I'm going to be a champion, even when those tough times come, it's going to be a different way you handle it. It's going to be hopefully in a positive way. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like I've learned that don't get too, I think that's where I've made a lot of my mistakes is I get really happy or like excited to win something I haven't already won. So I'm like focusing on winning instead of just winning. I could just win instead. So I've learned to just, in some ways, like I have my long-term goals, but it's like focus on the present. What's next? What's the next step? Okay. So like my micro goals, right? Like getting through training. What's that look like? Getting to do that, recovery. And then it's like, oh, got a fight signed. All right. So now it's winning a fight. What do I got to do to win that? Oh, won that fight. New promotion. Great. Not a new promotion. All right. That's fine too. So,
yeah. And, like one thing I've noticed, like you did talk about having a chip on your shoulder, but I think the thing I like with most is just keeping on the positive side of sports. It seems like even with a chip on your shoulder, you're still looking at the positive way of getting through to the next round, getting to the next level. And
dude, you have to. You have to. It'd be so fast. Like, I mean, you almost see that too all the time in UFC. Like, you see the guy come out, and it's like they're almost defeated, and yet they still haven't. Like, they're not even breathing heavy, and yet they're defeated.
Right.
Dude, you had like a bad moment. Like, come on, man. Like, you still got 2 rounds left.
Right. Yeah, there's so much negativity already as it is in the sport. No need to add to it, just to keep like focus on the good. And it seems cheesy in a way, but I mean, and also it helps you, stay focused in a positive light, and people around you can see that and feed off of it, So it's good to see that though. So for this final part of the interview, I thought we could talk a little like non-MMA stuff. I don't know. Do you like to watch any other sports outside of your normal stuff?
Dude, I don't. If I'm being honest, like I don't even think I watch enough UFC. Like I think I buy 3 cards a year, and if there's free fights on YouTube, I'll occasionally watch those. But yeah, like I'm usually training. Like I have hardly any time in front of the TV. I have a lot of like I would say I have downtime, right? Because I take so much recovery.
Right.
I don't have a TV sitting on my, in front of that hot tub. I don't have a TV in my H-bot. I don't have, or maybe it's just getting that extra nap in. So it's like I can't watch TV. I got to go to sleep. So it's like I have a lot of downtime, but I don't really watch TV. So it's like, no, I don't watch anything else.
Gotcha. Okay. No, no, well, then I guess are there any movies? I'll leave that one out then. But how about some books? Do you like to read books while you're in your downtime, or anything you recommend?
Yeah, so same thing. Like if I get a chance, I definitely like the Book of Five Rings. That's definitely like the book that I'd say. I probably shouldn't say this as like a Christian, but I probably read that more than my scriptures.
Yeah.
But those are like the next books that I'd say I read is, the Bible. So,
Okay.
obviously I'm part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so I read Book of Mormon too. But for the most part, it's the Book of Five Rings that I read.
Nice. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, I mean, it's nice that, like you said, if you don't have the screen in front of you, the book is always going to be a good companion right there for you. So, is there anything? I also know, like we talked about it in your written interview, but you're a big supporter of Operation Underground Railroad. Are you still a part of that? Like big supporting of that?
Yeah, I try to. I try to support it in the best way I can. I'll be honest, like I've dropped the ball. I should definitely be better at that. I think that's something we all need to be better at. Uh, but no, I think what they do is incredible. I think
Yeah.
for the longest time, it's like that skeleton in the closet that we know it's there, but we don't
Mm-hmm.
want to actually like recognize it because it's a hard thing to face. And I'm not
Yeah.
necessarily saying it's like to the point of like conspiracy theories, but it's like it's out there and it's pretty in depth and it's a pretty nasty place to be. And I've talked to like personal, not
Mm-hmm.
guys that have been rescuers, but guys that work with the direct team members of that, with even Tim Ballard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, dude, it's pretty real stuff, and it's pretty crazy how in depth it gets. And so I just love what they do there. I can't
Yeah.
imagine going through that myself. I don't even know how you would recover. Like even if you are a rescued person at that point, like
Oh yeah.
how do you even blend back into society at that point? And so like
Mm-hmm.
the ability that they have to do that to help these people feel like they have a chance again and like a fresh start, and that they hopefully
Yeah.
one day they feel somewhat safe. I don't know if they ever feel completely safe after that, but to even
Mm-hmm.
have like a little light of hope, I just think that's incredible. Like talk about heroes at their finest. They literally took them in the worst situation possible and just
Mm-hmm.
and made their world incredible. So yeah, I
Right.
love what they do.
So the name of the group is Operation Underground Railroad, and they help people that have been victims or in any shape or form of
Uh,
human trafficking, right?
Human trafficking, yeah, and a lot of times we think of that as like just child sex trafficking, which is a big part of it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of different other forms of like human trafficking, like modern day slavery
Mm-hmm.
that we don't even recognize. Like when I took like the little course to do it, I was like, holy crap, like that really goes on. And it's like I see it now. It's like I see like the
Mm-hmm.
trends, and it's like I can totally see how XYZ happens. So
Yeah.
it's good to see those things. It's good to be educated, you know. So
Absolutely.
yeah, Operation Underground Railroad, ran by Tim Ballard. Pretty cool program that he has.
Mhm. I'll have the link put up on there for the people on the description, so that people can look at it. Try to help out any way they can. So I thought it was a pretty noble cause to bring it up again. I know we talked about it before, but no, it's really great. At this point, in closing out, really want to say thank you again for joining us. Carving out a little time of your busy weekend, so it's much appreciated. I want to see if you want to give any shout outs to team and sponsors, people that are there along the way to help you through this journey. I think it's really important to showcase them, right?
Yeah, so God, there's a lot of people that have helped me. So I've got like Dave Herrera, I've got Jordan Goodsell, who helped me with my nutrition. Those guys are amazing. I've got Jordan Pendleton and Brandon down at the P1 Performance One gym that helped me with my strength and conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandon as a coach has gone above and beyond. He actually comes and rolls with me during my private lessons now. So
Yeah.
to have him like really help me out that way, like that guy's just, if you want to coach, if you do, they mostly specify in football, but they have taken me on as a fighter as well. And holy
Wow.
cow, like they really take you in, man. Like if you want to coach, that's really going to help you. The P1 is the place to go. Xcite MMA, Mark Balser. Our approach to fighting is, work smarter, not harder, although we do work hard. And it's just the longevity of your career has made it, I look at these other gyms and it's not down on them or anything, but I'm really grateful for a coach that sees the value in taking care of your body, and being there mentally as well as physically. And that's great that he's there, and teaching me how to be both as well. So, and then Dr. Myers, my recovery specialist, God, that's been amazing to just have, like you said, like ozone. Who would have thought, air in your hand would help you heal better? So, really cool developments there. And then my manager, Lance, he's always been there for me for day one. He pulls for me. I know he's probably losing money at times putting fights together for me when he could be putting together way better fights. And so to have him there treating me like a champion when I'm not there yet is pretty incredible. Team Iridium has been really cool to work with as a management team. And Brian Baker, my jiu-jitsu coach, is amazing. And same thing, he takes a similar approach to Mark, where he hasn't tried to make me a cookie cutter fighter. He's said, okay, these are Carson's strengths. How can we play into that? And so it's been really cool to have guys that are for me, not necessarily yes men, but for me, who have treated me like champion material, even though we're not there yet. So that's my team. And I really appreciate everything they do. Thank you for letting me at least thank them.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. I understand. Yeah. The team is what gets you through there. So it's nice to be able to showcase them and let people know who they are, who's the people that are guiding, behind the scenes, so to speak. Right. So,
yeah.
So like I follow you on Instagram. So is there any other places that people can follow you on your journey in MMA or something?
Instagram's the best place.
Yeah.
Facebook, Carson Hardman, but definitely Instagram's my number one. That's where I'm always posting. They're linked up, my Facebook and Instagram, but at Xcitewarrior is the Instagram handle. But that would be the place to go.
All right, sounds pretty good. As far as plans for the following year, first thing first, getting a hand healed, right? How long is the process for that to go through?
I think I got like another 4 weeks, I think, before I can really. I'm going to the doctor next week to get my follow-up post-surgery, my second follow-up post-surgery. So really hoping to have good news there, and I should. So, I mean, it's feeling better, got really good range of motion with it. So it's looking positive.
Well, hopefully everything goes well, safely and be able to recover. I know we all look for that speed recovery and everything, but safely is, the key right there. So hopefully we can see you back in the cage soon, and wishing you the best moving forward. Is there anything you'd like to close with as we close out the interview here?
No, just thank you for letting me be on the Cool Sports Guy podcast on the interview. Yeah. And I think it's always awesome that people take the time to interview me. So thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. My pleasure. It's good to have you on, and look forward to seeing what happens in the bright future and everything. So go ahead and sign off. Hope you have a good one then. All right.
Thank you.
No problem. If I can just do my